Hi, everyone. My name is Rob Taylor. I'm the REDCap team manager and the lead developer for REDCap software at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. Thanks for letting me come and present today on REDCap, What's Next? I'll be talking about what is coming soon for the REDCap software. We've added a lot of things recently in REDCap, and we're excited to be working on some newer things here coming in the near future, some of it sooner than others. So talking about that. Also, if you haven't checked out version 11 recently, just to kind of plug that, fairly recently in version 11.0 of REDCap, we actually added some newer features called project dashboards, smart charts, smart functions, and smart tables. These are really cool features that you can use in any project. Project dashboards are basically like just a blank canvas, a page that you can create. You can give it a title, you can give it content, and it can be dynamic content. And so you can add all kinds of dynamic pieces here, such as these smart charts, functions, and tables to really make it look interesting, like statistical, descriptive stats right there, as you can see on the page, as well as some really colorful charts, scatter plots, line charts, bar charts, pie charts, all kinds of things like that, as well as piping in information using aggregate functions. If you want to take the mean, the aggregate mean or average of a certain value across, all the records in a project, you can do that and output that number right there on the page. So it's really going to be cool to see what people do with this newer functionality in REDCap. We've added some features here where you can even make some dashboards public if you want to. You can allow or not allow users to use that particular feature in REDCap for project dashboards. Setting a dashboard as public really gives the user a public link, a public URL that points directly to that. And so you don't have to be a REDCap user in order to access that dashboard. So it's a really cool feature just to create a web page that anyone can access, and it's always live and updated in real time. We've tried to give lots of examples and even a cool looking wizard right there that you see on that page to help people build these dashboards and smart charts and other things pretty easily, because it can be a little overwhelming. It's very advanced, but we've tried to make it as simple as possible for people to build these. So I hope you check that out. That is already out now in 11.0. But now moving on to some other things that we're thinking about in the future is support for repeating instruments and events and automated survey invitations. So automated survey invitations, or ASIs, as we call them sometimes, they've been around for many, many years. People use them for surveys so that you don't have to send the email or the text message manually. You can have it set up to where, as we say, you set it and forget it. You set up the logic, you set up the conditions for these ASIs to be triggered, and then they will send out the appropriate invitation for the survey for those. But one thing that has not always worked well is if you're using ASIs for repeating instruments and events. So they work well if you're doing like a traditional longitudinal study. If you're doing like for example, a daily survey, you might have a day 1, day 2, and person takes the survey each day and it sends them an invitation each day. That works very well, but you have to actually build out all those individual events one at a time. It's kind of preset, but with repeating instruments and events, one of the great things is that any person, any record in the project can have n number of repeating instances. That it can be flexible in that way. But automated survey invitations just don't really work too well with those right now. They just have no concept of repeating instances at all. So what we're going to be doing later on this year is building in support for these repeating instruments and events in ASI so that people can really utilize them a lot more because, repeating instruments and events are very, very popular. They're used for so many different use cases. And I think a lot of people are going to be able to take advantage of these to a greater extent with this upcoming functionality. And one very big idea that we're working on, and this may end up being version 12.0. I know we just pushed out 11.0, but we're already thinking about what could be 12.0. And we're really thinking about multi-language support right now. It is becoming more and more important as people are trying to collect data, especially from survey participants, across different languages, different ethnicities, different countries, different parts of the world. Right now in REDCap, there are ways to do it. There are some external modules that allow you to do this a little bit better. And some people try to build workarounds that are not ideal, but do work. I think some of the ways to deal with this now are to build in, fancy branching logic. So you could have a question that says, what language would you like to view these questions in? And then you could use branching logic and put branching logic on every field, maybe in that survey, so that it's displaying, the text, maybe a descriptive text field right before the field in a certain language. So it's a tricky thing, and it's not always super easy to do depending on the setup, but some people have chosen to do that as well. So there's not a lot of great options. The third option, I guess, would be if you actually created separate surveys. You could create separate surveys for one for each different language. So people could take that survey, there's the English survey, maybe there's a Spanish survey. You could do different logic to send them to the right survey for those, but it's not as great for data analysis, because then you have data in different places on different surveys that are under different variable names. And that means you have to pull the data together if they're all kind of separated that way, and that's not great either. So what we want to do with this is to improve all that so that you can use a native built-in multi-language type of interface where you can build many different languages, build the text for the displayed language for surveys and data entry forms, so that the descriptive text and the field labels and the field choices all display in the language that's chosen there. It doesn't have to reload the page. It just does it right there if you click on it and change the language in real time. And you'll be able to build as many languages as you want. And we're actually thinking of building it very extensively. So not just covering the language for field labels and things that are attached to fields, like field attributes in the metadata. We're also thinking about going further and building ways to translate the text that you've provided for like survey related things, such as survey instructions, the survey thank you text, even other custom text that you would set up on the survey settings page, you'll be able to set up there as well using this interface. And we're going to go even further than that. You can think about, what about emails? If you're sending out emails, like a confirmation email when they complete the survey, we're thinking of translating, offering a translation for those as well, possibly. So you can actually send the email out in the same language as well. And even further than that, we are actually thinking of making it where some of the stock language in REDCap, like the little date pop-up date picker widget that you see there when you're choosing a date for a date time field or a date field, even ways of translating that into the respective language, and also some of the field validation errors. There's a lot of kind of stock language there. There's not too much of it for surveys where it's really kind of baked into REDCap, but just trying to allow users to make all the different aspects of a survey or a form, translatable there to make it a seamless experience for someone who is collecting data there. So we're just now starting to think about this. Hopefully we can get this done sometime later this year. We're thinking it could be version 12.0, but we know, regardless of that, that it's going to be a very popular feature and a very useful feature as people continue to use REDCap, across borders and for many different groups of folks who are needing to take it and collect all this data from these people and users. I think it's going to be a great asset for people going forward. So we're very excited about that. So that's it for today. So thanks for letting me talk about some of our latest features in REDCap and also some of our upcoming features that are coming later on this year. So thank you very much.